Intellectual law number 3, your brain mimics perfectly. This is a beautiful insight because it really lets you know that you can model people's success. As a matter of fact, you've been modeling your entire lifetime. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to teach you how to use it to your advantage. I want to tell you a quick story first. Basically, I don't know if you could tell this, but I'm actually from New Jersey. And in New Jersey, we have a very unusual slang term called "use guys." Well, it's not that unusual, except for the fact that we do that when we address females and or mixed company. We say, "Hey, you guys, what are you doing?" It's kind of strange, but you know, I grew up with it, and it just always seems perfectly natural to me. Well, I went to Tennessee for 2 years for college, for school, and in Tennessee they have a slang, and it's y'all. Now, if you think about it, y'all is much more appropriate than "use guys," all right? Especially when addressing mixed company. But it was just very uncomfortable for me. I couldn't get used to this y'all. So what I would do is I actually was coaching a girls' sorority softball team, and I would say, "Hey, you guys are doing great," and they would always giggle. They would laugh, "Hey, you called us you guys." Anyway, so I came back home. Eventually, I kind of acclimated to it. I came back home, and I say, "Hey, what do you all guys want to do tonight?" They go, "Y'all, get that, go back to Tennessee." In any event, it's really amazing how we mimic and model the speech patterns, the success patterns, the thoughts, feelings, and actions of other people. One of the best examples of this is Tony Robbins. Now, Tony Robbins has been talking and teaching modeling as one part of his repertoire for over 30 years. And he says this: success leaves clues, and if you mimic or model the thoughts, feelings, and actions of successful people who are moving in the direction that you want to do, that you will be successful also. Now, this is a cautionary tale as well. You should take an inventory. I recommend you take an inventory of all the people you grew up with, because you modeled the people in your environment, especially when you were young and susceptible. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are stuck in their story. And if we're around them enough, we'll actually start to absorb their thoughts, feelings, and actions, because their story, they want you to believe their story because it reaffirms that story. Okay, so you just want to make sure. And here's something I learned is very, very interesting. It's a real kind of a complex name. These academics do this. Case Western Reserve University talks about emotional contagions. The negative emotions of another person will infect you in 8 to 45 seconds. It is literally the snap of a finger. 500 milliseconds is half a second. 8 to 45 milliseconds is an instant. And if you're around people with negative emotions, what you'll do is you'll absorb and you'll incorporate those emotions. So what you want to do is especially around work, when you can't really choose the people you're around, make sure you are proactive. We have great advantages in this time and age. We can access 5,000 years of wisdom in the palm of our hand. We can look at videos. We can model anybody or anything, go in any direction we want to go in a virtual instant, 8 to 45 milliseconds. I originally thought that coaching was a luxury. It was not something you needed to do, but it was a great thing to do. It really helps you. And now I've understood that life coaching is a necessity if you want to affect intentional change and or transformation in your life. Again, this comes from Case Western Reserve University. They have a whole department on life coaching. There's a Dr. Boyatsis who leads that team. They do some amazing work. And here's what they said. They said that the intentional change process follows, again, complexity theory. And what complexity theory is just this, is that change doesn't happen in a linear, easy, simple fashion. You move forward, you move backwards, you move up, you move down, but there's 5 things that they all have in common. Step number 1 of these 5, they call them dynamic attractors in the complexity theory change process. Forget about all those terms. It's just 5 steps. What would be the ideal person that you want to be 5 or 10 years from now? What is your ideal self? Not what you ought to be, not what you think you could be, but what is really compelling to you? Step number 2, DeWitt Jones has a great quote. He said, by celebrating what's right with the world, we have the energy to fix what's wrong. By celebrating what's right with you, you will have the energy to fix the gaps. Move in. Because in the real self, it's not about what's wrong with you. It's about what are your strengths? How do you move forward how do you capitalize in these strengths and close the gaps? Step number 3 in complexity theory. This is so important in this day and age. How do we move forward in this age of information? Information doubles every 12 to 13 months. We have immediate access to it. How do we learn the things? How do we get the knowledge that we know? And you want to become an expert in the learning phase of any intentional change process. Number 4 is, I'll give you another quote. I'm not sure who this is from, but it says this: amateurs practice till they get it right. Professionals practice till they never get it wrong. And what you want to do is you want to begin to practice the traits, the attributes of the successful change that you want, the successful transformation. And finally, and this was a real eye-opener to me, virtually no one goes through this intentional change process in isolation. You cannot do it by yourself. Your chances of success are minimal. What you need is you need a mentor and a coach to move you through this process, to help with the unconscious areas in your life, to help you get through this process. You understand now that you are mimicking your environment and the people in it on a moment-to-moment basis, and you know how to take control of that process, and you know an entirely new process, the life coaching process. I recommend you go out and get a life coach, and what I recommend is you use mimicking to your advantage on your journey of transformation. Thank you.